Okay, so now that we have an understanding of Business Manager, Business Suite, Ads Manager, and the Facebook Creator Studio, now we're actually going to move deeper into the Ads Manager. So, just as a reminder, the door to the Ads Manager is either in the Business Suite or the Business Manager. Most of you will have access to the Business Suite, but some of you will only have access to the Business Manager. So, let's go ahead and look at the Ads Manager in Facebook. Sort of examples in here that we're going to work through together. But I just wanted to start us on the basics. There's tons of features in this platform, and I don't want to get too overwhelmed too quickly. So the first thing I want us to focus on are the levels. There's the campaign level, the ad set level, and the ad level. There's these three tabs right here. So the campaign is the highest level. It's like the umbrella that's going to host your ad sets and your ads. So in each campaign, you might have multiple ad sets, and for each ad set, you might have multiple ads. So let's take a minute and see what that might look like. Let's just start by creating a new campaign. So when you're first getting started, you are going to create a campaign. In that campaign, you are going to choose your buying type. We're going to have a big conversation on what buying type means. But for right now, just know that there's two buying types. There's the auction and reach and frequency. After choosing your buying type, you're going to choose your campaign objective. For this example, let's just say traffic. And now you can also name your campaign. We can call this we'll call this Xero traffic, website traffic campaign 2021. So then we can create an ad set. So let's just say clinical psychologist. So after we create our campaign, we have the campaign level, which we're going to identify if we are in a special ad category. Special ad categories are for people who have a business in industries that are related to credit, employment, housing, social issues, elections, or politics. If you are in a special ad category, you have to toggle this on and then declare which category you are in. So you can also choose to do an A/B test. We'll talk more about that later at the campaign level. And at the campaign level, you can also turn on campaign budget optimization, which means your budget is set for the campaign at all ad set levels. It's going to choose the ad set level that you are working, that's performing the best. But if you don't have this on, you're going to choose your budget at the ad set level. So what's an ad set? So an ad set is going to be where you identify, since this objective's traffic, what website we're sending people to. So this would be the xerosymposium.com or .org. Dynamic creative. If you toggle this on, we'll talk more about dynamic creative later, but you can toggle this on in the ad set level. You can explain if you have an offer. You create your budget and your schedule. So maybe our daily budget is actually only $5 or something along that line. At the ad set level, you also define your audience. So this audience might be in a specific geographical area, and they're all going to be clinical psychologists. So maybe I create an ad set level for clinical psychologist in Tulsa. And then I choose where I'm going to place these ads. This is how you determine that maybe you're just putting ads on Instagram, or maybe you're just putting ads on Facebook and Instagram. And finally, optimization and delivery. Again, something we're going to talk about a little more in depth later. But what I want you to know here is that at the ad set level, we are really defining our budget and our audience. So this is a bit broader than what we're going to do with our creative, but a bit more specific than the campaign. So the campaign level is our objectives, our A/B testing. We might do some budget optimization. If we do that, we'll talk about budget in the campaign level. But really, it's our buying type, our objective, and maybe some A/B testing or budgets. Ad set level is our audience, can also include information about our budget, as well as where we're placing these ads. The ad level is our creative. This is where we will place our pictures, our videos. We could do a carousel, which I have us building some ads right now for this. You can see over here, it pops up some previews for us to look at about where this might show up. You can add some carousel ads. You can do an image or a video or a collection. And then you can write your headlines and your descriptions, the URL that you want people going to. You can add additional headlines and descriptions. So if you do dynamic creative, that allows Facebook to determine which headlines and which captions are performing the best. So you might have like 3 or 4 headlines and 3 or 4 captions. And caption 1 might be doing really well, and caption and description 4 might be doing really well. So they might pair caption 1 with description 4 and image 3. So so it's dynamic in that it can create the best outcome based on the creative elements you have available to you. So to recap, the campaign level is where you define your objectives and your buying type. You might also identify that you want to do an A/B test and create campaign budget optimization. The ad set level is where you identify your audience. You might have to work with your budget and your schedule. You identify where you want to place your ads, and you do optimization and delivery. And then finally, the ad level is where you will create where you'll input your creative. So I'm going to close out of this and go back to our campaigns. So I want to show you how this could look. So in this campaign that we just looked at, the website traffic campaign 2021, we found out that there's a campaign level, an ad set level, and an ad level. But it's important to know that at the campaign level, you can have multiple ad sets. So let's say we're still targeting clinical psychologists. Well, maybe we create an ad set. So we target clinical psychologists in Tulsa, we target clinical psychologists in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and we target clinical psychologists in Dallas. So those would be our 3 ad sets we're targeting. And what's really important with ad sets is we don't want to have too many variables, because then we can't really determine what's doing well and what's not, or why something did well, or our insights become a little harder to understand. So for example, if I did an ad set that had clinical psychologist in Dallas and clinical psychologist in Fayetteville, so that was one ad set. And then I had another ad set that had clinical psychologist in Tulsa and Oklahoma City, and then maybe another ad set that had clinical psychologist in Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Well, if the ad set that did really well was the ad set targeting clinical psychologists in Dallas and in Fayetteville, I don't know if it did really well because I was targeting clinical psychologists in Dallas or because I was targeting clinical psychologists in Fayetteville. It could be either. So what's important to remember is that we really want to control our variables and make sure that we're being consistent. Because at the end of your campaign, you can say, wow, our targeting that we did for Dallas did really well. So maybe we need to target Dallas more, because when we created an ad set for clinical psychologists in Dallas, that ad set performed very well versus our clinical psychologist in Fayetteville. So maybe we redirect some of our resources to pick up more registrants from Dallas because there seems to be a more interest in Dallas. Now for ads campaign. So what we can do here, and this is kind of messy right now, and that's okay. But what I'm trying to show is that you can create a variety of ads for each campaign. You can see the ad set name here. So what this means is you can say, I want to create an image ad, a video ad, and a slideshow ad for each ad set. So what this says is if I did the clinical psychologists in Dallas, Tulsa, and Fayetteville, for each ad set, maybe I want to do a video ad, a photo ad, and a carousel ad. Then I can say the video ads performed really well in Dallas, but the carousel ads performed really well in Fayetteville. So maybe I know that as I continue to target Dallas, that maybe I need to create some more video ads. This allows you to test a bunch of different creative types. Again, it's really important to control your variables. So you want your captions and your headlines to be consistent from each ad. So if you keep the caption and the headline the same, and all you're changing is whether or not you have a video or an image, you'll know whether or not video or images are doing better, or which one's performing the best. But if you change the headline and the caption and the video and the photo, you don't know if performance improved because the caption was better or because people just liked video more. So again, whatever variable you're testing, whether it's the caption or the headline or the creative type, make sure that it stays consistent. So that way at the end of your campaign, when you see what performed well and what didn't, you actually know why, versus saying, okay, well, I don't necessarily know why this one performed well, or I don't have a really good insight. It could be that the audiences were really interested in Dallas, or it could be that the audiences were really interested in Fayetteville. So again, make sure whatever it is you're testing, that stays consistent in your campaign. So you can have multiple campaigns, but under each, so this was a website traffic campaign. So maybe this campaign's all about driving traffic to the website. This one's a Xero Symposium awareness campaign. So this one's all about building awareness. And then maybe I have a conversion campaign. So a Xero Symposium conversion campaign. And this is where I want people to land on the website and actually register for the event. So if you notice what I did by creating a brand awareness campaign and a traffic campaign and a conversion campaign, I have created advertising for each stage of the buyer's journey. And if I'm targeting the same audience, hopefully what's happening is as they see our advertisements, they're actually moving from not knowing about the Xero Symposium to knowing about it, or to knowing that it's an option for them to earn their CEUs, to ending with them choosing to register for the October event. So that is what I want us to start with, is that when you're doing Facebook advertising, there are three main levels. There's the campaign level, there's the ad set level, or the ads level. So the campaign level is the big umbrella that hosts the ad sets and the ads. For each campaign, you can have multiple ad sets where you're targeting different types of interests, different types of audiences. And then at the ads level, you can create different types of creative. So for each ad set, you might have multiple ads. So you can have one campaign that has two ad sets. You can have two in each ad set, you can have two ads. So that'd be one campaign with two ad sets, and each ad set has two ads. So that would be 1 campaign, 2 ad sets, and 4 ads, 2 ads in each ad set. I hope that makes sense. It's the very basic level of creating this. In the next video, we are going to talk about how to make your decision at the campaign level.